The morning light filtered through the old courthouse windows, turning the dust in the air into a slow snowfall of gold. The Providence Municipal Courtroom was half full, traffic violators waiting for mercy, lawyers whispering deals, and one young man standing by himself at the defense table. His name was Daniel Reyes, 25 years old, a grocery delivery driver from Silver Lake. His jacket was too thin for February, his posture too proud for his circumstances. He'd been charged with leaving the scene of an accident, failure to report, and reckless operation. Judge Frank Caprio sat at the bench, reading the file in silence. His pen tapped once against the folder before he looked up. "Mr. Reyes," he said evenly, "you understand the charges against you?" Daniel nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. But I didn't do what they're saying." Caprio studied him for a moment, the quiet conviction in his tone, not arrogance but exhaustion. "We'll hear both sides," he said. "Officer Grant, you may proceed." The allegation. Officer Michael Grant, 44, took the stand with a manila folder in hand. His voice was practiced, firm. "On February 3rd, around 6:20 p.m., I responded to a call at the intersection of Cranston and Elmwood Avenue. A witness reported a gray Toyota van struck a parked vehicle and fled. I ran the plate. It came back registered to Mr. Daniel Reyes." Caprio turned a page in the file. "Did you locate the vehicle?" "Yes, Your Honor," said Grant. "Parked outside his residence an hour later. The front bumper was dented." The judge looked up. "Mr. Reyes, that accurate?" Daniel nodded. "Yeah. The bumper's been like that for a week. Happened at work. I deliver for Quick Cart Grocery. I hit a loading pole backing out." Caprio raised an eyebrow. "Any report from that incident?" Daniel hesitated. "My manager told me not to worry, said they'd handle it." The courtroom murmured. Caprio held up a hand for silence. "Officer Grant, did you see the collision yourself?" "No, Your Honor. Just the aftermath." "And the witness?" Grant flipped a page. "Name withheld by request. Claims to have seen a gray Toyota van hit a white sedan and drive off." "No video?" Caprio asked. "None, sir. The city traffic camera at that corner was under maintenance." Caprio closed the file carefully. "So we have a witness who won't appear, a vehicle color that matches 1,000 others, and a damaged bumper that predates the alleged collision." The silence hung. "Yes, Your Honor," said Grant. "The accused?" Caprio leaned back in his chair, eyes still on Daniel. "Mr. Reyes," he said, "walk me through your evening. Step by step." Daniel took a breath, voice steady. "I was working. 10 deliveries that night. It was snowing. Around 6:15, I stopped at an apartment near Elmwood. I was inside maybe 4 minutes. When I came out, there were people yelling at the corner, something about a crash. I didn't see it. I finished my route and went home." Caprio's pen tapped once. "And when Officer Grant came to your house?" "I let him in," Daniel said. "Told him what I just told you. He looked at the van, took pictures, and said someone saw me drive off." Caprio looked up again. "Did you?" "No, sir. I didn't." The words were simple. They landed like something heavier than denial, something honest. The doubt. The prosecutor, Assistant City Attorney Laura Chin, rose next. Her tone was careful, not cruel. "Your Honor, while the defense claims innocence, the physical evidence, matching vehicle description and front-end damage, aligns with the report. The witness identified the color, make, and partial plate. That's sufficient for probable cause." Caprio turned to her. "Ms. Chen, sufficient for probable cause is not sufficient for justice. Let's look closer." He motioned to the clerk. "Miss Reyes, cue the body cam stills from Officer Grant." The monitor flickered. Images appeared. Daniel's van parked under a streetlight, a dent on the right bumper, snow melting on the hood. Caprio leaned forward. "Officer Grant, these photos, time-stamped 7:45 p.m.? "Yes, Your Honor." "Snow's melting here. It was below freezing that night." Grant hesitated. "Yes, sir. So this vehicle sat parked, engine warm, hood melting snow an hour and a half after a supposed hit and run. Not hidden. Not cleaned. Not fleeing. Grant swallowed. Correct, Your Honor. Caprio looked at Daniel. You didn't run, did you? Daniel shook his head. No, sir. The video. Your Honor, said the clerk suddenly, holding up a printed sheet. We received supplemental evidence this morning. Private security footage from a laundromat across from Elmwood and Cranston. It was timestamped at 6:17 p.m. City investigators just logged it. Caprio's eyes narrowed slightly. Let's play it. The footage flickered onto the courtroom screen, grainy, black and white. A snow-covered street, headlights glowing like ghosts. A white sedan was parked along the curb. At the edge of the frame, a dark van turned the corner, not gray, but dark blue. The audience leaned forward. Caprio adjusted his glasses. Freeze it, he said. The clerk paused the image. That's not gray, Caprio said quietly. That's blue. The courtroom buzzed. The prosecutor frowned. Your Honor, it could be lighting. Caprio nodded. Maybe. But look closer, the rear window shape. Mr. Reyes's van has a horizontal bar here. This one doesn't. Grant peered closer. That's not the same model, sir. Caprio's pen tapped again. So the vehicle in the video, not the defendant's. Which means, Daniel whispered, it wasn't me. Caprio sat back, exhaling through his nose. It wasn't you. The turn. Ms. Chen cleared her throat. Your Honor, the prosecution requests time to review the footage. Caprio shook his head gently. Justice doesn't wait for convenience, Counselor. The evidence speaks. He turned to Daniel. Mr. Reyes, when you said you didn't do it, you meant it. Daniel nodded slowly, emotion rising in his throat. I've been delivering groceries 6 days a week since I was 19. People see a dented van and assume you're reckless. I couldn't afford a lawyer, so I came here myself. I just wanted someone to believe me. The room went still. Caprio's voice softened. Belief is earned by truth, not titles. You brought both. The reckoning. Caprio turned to Officer Grant. Officer, any objection to dismissing these charges based on newly submitted evidence? Grant shook his head. No, Your Honor. None. Caprio turned to the clerk. Miss Reyes, mark all counts dismissed with prejudice. The defendant is free to go. The clerk's pen scratched across the form. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, relief washing over him like the first warmth of spring. But Caprio wasn't finished. Mr. Reyes, he said quietly, sit down for a moment. Let's talk about what happened here. Daniel hesitated, then sat again. You walked into this courtroom alone, Caprio said. No lawyer. No connections. The easiest path would have been to pay the fine, admit guilt, and move on. But justice isn't supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be right. He looked toward the prosecutor and officer. Mistakes happen. What matters is how we respond to them. The lesson. Caprio flipped to a clean page in his notebook. Justice isn't just about verdicts, he said. It's about process. The integrity between accusation and evidence. Let me make 3 recommendations for the record. He raised a finger. 1. In all vehicle identification cases, witness statements must include a color and make confirmation under standardized lighting conditions. 2. Any withheld witness identity must still provide a sworn statement before charges are filed. 3. When evidence is video-dependent, no prosecution should proceed until that footage is reviewed. Justice delayed is mercy denied. He paused. And to my viewers over 50, if you believe every worker, driver, and delivery kid deserves fairness, subscribe to Order in the Court. Justice isn't viral. It's vital. The room softened with a ripple of laughter. Caprio looked back at Daniel. You've been through a lot, son. What's next for you? Daniel smiled faintly. Back to work, Your Honor. Rent's due Friday. Caprio nodded. Then let me give you something better than a fine. I'm recommending you for the city's community driver safety program, not as a participant, but as a speaker. You stood for truth when it would have been easier to fold. That's the kind of example young drivers need." Daniel blinked, caught between pride and disbelief. "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me," Caprio said. "Thank the truth. It did the heavy lifting." The aftermath? 2 weeks later, a segment aired on the local news. "Delivery driver cleared after wrongful charge. Evidence restores faith and fairness." The security footage led to another arrest, a blue commercial van registered to a different company, whose driver later confessed. Officer Grant publicly apologized. Ms. Chin revised her review process for witness statements. Daniel returned to work, same van, same routes, but now, when he drove past the courthouse, he slowed down, just to look at the steps where his name had been cleared. The closing. Late one Friday evening, as the courtroom emptied, Judge Frank Caprio sat alone at his bench, writing in his notebook. He jotted a single line before pinning it to the corkboard behind him. "Justice is not the absence of error, it's the courage to correct it." He looked out across the empty courtroom, rows of benches that had held the proud, the ashamed, the innocent, and the guilty, and thought of Daniel Reyes, who refused to surrender truth for convenience. Caprio turned off the light, his words echoing softly in the quiet. "Mercy without truth is sentiment. Truth without mercy is cruelty. Justice is the bridge between the two." He closed the door behind him.